Hey, thanks for joining me. We're looking at the second issue of Dork. My good friend Latik Curry, he got me the first issue. He had heard about it and he'd read it and seen it, and he's like, "Dude, you might like this thing," and so I'm going to send you an issue, and he did. And then he's hooked me up with issue two, which is awesome. Thank you, Latik Curry. You're a badass. I owe you 1,000 times over. He told me that there was he says another interesting thing about this comic is that there's a lot of industry heat about it. It's a very hot comic, which is not something that I've heard mentioned in the comic industry, like the American comic book industry, in forever. It's kind of like, who cares anymore? Like, the newest issue of something is out there, and it's so rare and exciting that people are getting copies and putting them up on eBay or some shit like that for, I think I heard, a couple $100 in some cases. I was like, oh well, I mean, that's good for Brett Bean, the creator of the comic. Good for him. If he's got something that's hot and kicking ass, I mean, we should all be so lucky. I have seen a couple of videos. I was watching one in particular that was kind of talking about how they feel like this is all kind of industry manipulation, and it's not really organic. It's kind of like it was fabricated to get us all interested and start buying this shit up to make it a hot property. I have no idea about any of the reality or the truth to that. I mean, I would like to think that creators would get out there and just put the work out there and let it kind of rise and fall on its own. But it is a business, and if you can do something, anything to get people to look at your book, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm not saying it's true. I know what I've seen and what I've listened to and what some people are saying about kind of an artificial inflation of the value of the book being manipulated by the publisher and the creators. I don't know. All that aside, is it doing this or is it doing that? The question just kind of remains, is the comic book any goddamn good? I'm going to say yes. It's certainly a very specific kind of taste. It's a unique kind of thing. It's a cartoony, lighthearted, fun adventure. It's if you want to be reading some X-Men shit or something like that, that's not what this is. But I think most people who read comics, everyone I've ever run into that reads comics, has at least a reasonable kind of diverse interest in varying things. This is a cartoony, so far kind of like an all ages kind of thing. It's well drawn. It's funny. It kind of it raises some kind of interesting, kind of fun ideas with the concept. You got this character. He's half dwarf, half orc, and combining the words dwarf and orc, you come up with dork. To me, it seems like something that the creator probably just like come up with in his head. Probably you could be sitting around shooting the shit, having some beers with your buddies, and you kind of make this joke, and then you stop and you go, "Oh my God, that's actually hilarious!" And then just around that concept, you start building an idea. Is that what happened here? No clue. I could see that being the case. So, but like I said, is the comic good? Like I was saying, I will absolutely say yes, the comic is good. I will add, is it worth the fucking hype that people are talking about? Like, it's so good, they're being bought up, and now it's hyper rare. The conversation seems to be more about the collectability of something that's rare versus they want it, like people want it because it's a good comic. And that always leaves a bad taste in my mouth personally. I want comics because they're good. And if the hype around a thing is all about it's a collectible, that's something I don't like when I see some people hyping up some things. Be sure to pick up the hottest collectible. Like, you're only buying these things because you want to collect them for their monetary value. That shit makes me fucking barf. Like, collect a comic because you love it and it's enjoyable and you get something out of it, not because it's a knick-knack to make money on. That being said, everyone's free to do whatever the hell they want with their life and their money and their properties and whatever. But it kind of makes me, I don't care for that kind of mindset. But yeah, I read issue 2 here. Is it good? Yes, but is it worth the hype? whether the hype is artificial and inflated or it's natural and it's organic. It's good, but I'm like, it's not that fucking amazing. It's just really good. And I think that it should, get all the praise it can get, and they should keep making it, and I hope it continues to be successful. I'm just not blown away by this, but that's okay. We've already been introduced to the main character. Again, half dwarf, half orc. He's got a shield with a giant eyeball on it that's possessed with some kind of otherworldly spirit. And in the first issue, he was in a tavern. A big fight happened, and accidentally, this chicken got its head cut off. And so now the dork character, in addition to his sentient, talking, smart-ass shield with a giant eyeball, he's lugging around the chicken's dead body, but the chicken's severed ghost spirit head is following him with him. So it's a weird little trio of characters. So like the little ghost chicken here, he's like, let me get this straight. You're half orc and half dwarf? He's like, yes. The chicken says, I heard orcs can shoot bolts of lightning out of their eyes. Can you do that? And he's like, no, and no, they can't. He says, well, I heard dwarves shoot fire out of their mouth holes. Did you get that power? He says, no, I didn't. And I don't think dwarves can do that either. So the chicken's like, well, what can you do? And so Dork says, I can carry a cadaverified chicken and an obnoxious shield up a cliffside, which is what he's doing. So simple, funny, really nice artwork. Again, the artist, creator, Brett Bean, that's not a name I'm familiar with, but I feel like I probably should. I've seen people talk about. I can't remember what it is. There's another book that I if I saw correctly and I'm remembering correctly. If I'm wrong, you guys will correct me instantly. I know, where he had another book that was pretty popular, and I can't remember the name of it. It's nothing I've ever read. But all that aside, it's just like I just again I like the idea of somebody who's out there creating stuff, and they finally have a goddamn smash hit on their hands, and they're creating stuff and they're being successful, and that's awesome. I love that idea. So I hope they continue to have success. But he keeps climbing, and they're the whole bit of the dialogue, the point of the dialogue here is to kind of get the reader up to speed if maybe this is your first issue. Oh, excuse me while I yawn for a minute. It's a little bit late. I should edit that out, but I'm not going to. You're going to suffer through that shit. Anyway, the severed chicken head says, why are we climbing again? The dork says, for the 28th time, chicken, every light and dark warrior in the realm has put me on their must-kill list, and we're going up this way to avoid them all down there. So the chicken's like, so you're saying, and the dork says, a death shield I can't get rid of, and a ghost chicken that haunts me with its inability to comprehend simple concepts draws attention to me we don't need. The chicken is just kind of a dumbass. And the chicken's like, and that means, and dork's like, there's no blood rushing to that brain anymore, is there? The chicken's like, not even a little. So they get to the top, and there's a bunch of warriors up here, but they're all dead. And so the dork's like, they were just waiting up here for us? And the chicken's like, you must be a slow climber. The joke obviously being like, they waited so long for him to climb up that they died of old age. Dork's like, none of this makes sense. It looks like they've been here for ages. And he kind of pokes at him, and they're still kind of squishy. Dork saying, both light and dark knights are here. What do you think happened to them? The shield says, who cares? At least it was them and not us. So Dork says, hey now, they were still living beings. We should say something profound or have a moment of silence for them. The shield's like, whatever. So they sit there and it's kind of quiet for a minute. And then the chicken, he just starts chiming in. He's like, I heard dwarves and orcs can drain the life out of you by sucking on your face. So, and Dork's like, I don't have that superpower either. I think it's funny because the whole concept of it's running around like a chicken with its head cut off. The body is still like mobile and able to move. And the little ghost chicken head just floats above it. It's a really funny character design. That's really clever. The shield itself, keeps talking. It says, I can't believe you had a moment of silence for a group of killers. Nobody is here to see this nobility of yours. The severed chicken says, hey, that's not true. Look, body found friend. So like the chicken body is pointing, like the chicken body itself can see things. Points off, and there's some like kids with these weird masks on. They're like, hey, they're kids. You shouldn't be looking at the squishy bits and dusty flaps. The shield says, stop talking. And more kids kind of come out of the brush here. The dork is like, are you all lost? The shield's like, please stop talking now. The chicken says, it seems to be working. There's so many kids to play with. Keep talking. So dork's like, maybe we should go find your parents? Like, this is a really weird thing. What's going on with these kids? So suddenly the kids all pull out like shields with little shiny, glowy, pointy dagger things. And they cut Dork, and he screams, and the shield says these children are time thieves. Dork says, what does that mean? The shield says, each wound steals your time away. Quit getting cut or you'll wither away and die. That's an interesting idea. I've never kind of even thought of that concept. You get stabbed with this thing and it sucks like time from your existence away. The shield says, this isn't playtime, Dork. You need to go berserk mode on these kids, which we've seen Dork be able to do at the end of last issue. He can go kind of nuts and become a serious ass kicker. And he's like, no, I lost control last time, and look what happened to the chicken. Because Dork, if I remember correctly, Dork did that to the chicken. Accidentally, but he did. And so the chicken's ghost head's floating around and says, body wandered off again, has no mind of its own. Dork says he's as useful as a jam-filled catapult. I actually laughed out loud at that. That was kind of funny. The little time thief children stab him again, and Dork gets pissed off. He's like, hey, you thieving little weasel. Bam! Just fucking socks the kid right in the face. Like, the impact and energy of that punch is actually really fantastic. The shield says, wow, you hit a kid. Dork says, well, what was I supposed to do? Getting old sucks. And the shield says, no, that was great. Beat them all. So Dork goes kind of like super berserker mode, starts beating the shit out of all these kids, knocks them all down. So they turn to, there's a rustling in the bushes, and the shield says, come on out, take what's coming to you, you creepy little crib lizards. And then it's just the chicken's body. It went away. But now the chicken's body wanders out there, and there's more of these kids with the weird masks and the time stabby shield things, and they just start stabbing the shit out of the chicken's body, indicating, as they've said, like, it'll just suck all the time away. Just boom. And so now the chicken's body is just like this burned out, dead, gone husk. The chicken's ghost head says, my body. Dork's like, if it's any comfort, you probably weren't going to last very long anyways. Now there's this mysterious, creepy silhouette creature in the background. The shield's like, I'm surprised you made it past the cliff. But Dork, there's a little like poo emoji in his thoughts there. He turns and looks, kind of probably saying like, oh shit. Did I skip a page? No. Big giant creature shows up, and the shield says, it's a Time Lord. Socks Dork right big hard right in the face. Blood goes flying, hits the ground. So this giant Time Lord, he says, I hope you've enjoyed your past few moments with the orphans that time forgot. You can see he's got like energy kind of arcing out of little wrist gauntlet things, whatever the hell they are, controlling these kids. Dork's like, orphans? You used kids to kill for you? The Time Lord says, of course, as the light and dark armies thrive to kill, I, the Time Lord, scoop them up and give their trivial lives a moment of purpose. Every orphan, beggar, and street urchin is a forgotten casualty in the casual pursuit of war. So that's actually kind of saying something kind of interesting. He continues saying, for no one cares for society's dregs when the world is on fire, and he cackles, ha, 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 ha. And then he actually starts like singing a tune. Meek and mild, alone in the wild, nary a grown-up have they. The children all shout as I hollow them out. Time just steals them away. Sad little fingers and broken little souls. I catch them before they can crawl. Light and dark, guilty or innocent, no one loves them at all. Sound familiar? And so, you know, it's kind of a sad thing. Like, even one of these kids, the masks is broken. There's a sad little look of the eye of the kid. And so Dork kind of freaks out and does this massive, super powerful uppercut right on the chin of the thing. Again, the energy and movement and action. This guy knows how to draw, like really, really well. Time Lord's like, oh, I sense such power in you, power and purpose. Dork is almost like Wolverine type berserker mode. Eyes are kind of like glowing with rage. The Time Lord says, you would end the world. Now, this is a concept that has been brought up before. Like, that's the reason the good guys and the bad guys are both all chasing him, because they think that he's got the ability to end the world as they know it. And that's not good. So he says that you would end the world, and Dork kind of comes back to his senses. He's like, no. The Time Lord keeps going, alas, you wandered into my timeline and your power will be mine. Socks him again really hard. Dork goes falling. Dork says, we need to free these kids. And the Shield, ever the pragmatic one, he says, no, you want to save these kids. We need to run. Dork says, I'm not leaving them, so you better come up with something fast. The Shield says, maybe we can use their knives to go back in time somehow. What do you think, kid? Dork? And while the Shield was thinking, Dork himself got stabbed multiple times from the kids, and now it looks like he's dead, like he's a dried out dead husk. The Shield is sitting there just like, no, 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 no. The Time Lord says, well, 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 what have we here? He takes the shield and says, a common shield with the most uncommon spell. You were not meant to have any more time in this world, were you? The Shield says, please don't let him die like this. The Time Lord says, sentimental nonsense, his time is up. But with you, my dear Shield, I will escape death forever. But then a voice from behind says, not so fast. It's the severed ghost chicken head, which is a phrase I never thought I'd ever say anywhere. The ghost chicken head says, nobody turns my best friend into dust, you ugly, festering boil of a poopy butthole. That's literally the dialogue. The Time Lord's like, yeah, you insignificant chicken, away with you. So the ghost chicken comes screaming at him with a bagok, and it says possession. The ghost head goes into the Time Lord, and he takes control of the Time Lord's body. And so the Time Lord goes, bagok? And the Shield says, chicken, is that you in there? And suddenly, speaking very eloquently, the Time Lord with the voice of the chicken says, hey, look at me. I'm a Time Lord with too many puns. Time to go, time to pee myself, time to blah, 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 blah. Now who's insignificant? The Shield says, please, chicken, concentrate. You have to help Dork. Because remember, he just got time jumped into the future and dead. The chicken says, oh, yeah, that's easy. I can think clearly when I've got a body. Just give me some time. So it's really interesting that the chicken is kind of, when there's no blood flowing to his brain, he's kind of a dumbass. But when he gets into a body and his brain is connected to something, he can actually like figure shit out. So in no time at all, Dork wakes up. There he is. He's alive. He says, what just happened? The Shield says, the chicken saved everyone. And the kids, they don't have the masks on anymore. They're not being controlled by the Time Lord. The chicken in the body says, oh, it was a no problemo. Just had to rewire the threaded time strings around both pendulums to reverse the old mechanism and send the magic back through the crystal chambers, and wham, bam, reverse stabby, stabby. You got your time back. It's really quite simple. Dork's like, did he just get smarter too? And Shield's like, yeah, he finally got blood rushing to his head now. So Chicken Time Lord says, better yet, there's a bunch of extra magic left in these to give you an even longer life, Dork. There are at least 10 more lifetimes in these babies. Just say the word. The Shield says, probably from those idiots looking to ambush you back at the cliffs. What do you say to that? Dork says, I don't think you're going to like what I'm going to have to say. The Shield says, what? You sure we should give these assassins their life back? So all those, the soldiers that were there before, they use this time ability to reverse time, bring them all back to life. Dork's like, yeah, I'm sure. And the Shield says, I'm sure you're an idiot. And so the humans and the warriors that they brought back to life, they're like, your most unpleasant Shield is right. Why would the Harbinger of Doom help any of us? He says, because you don't have to believe everything you think. I am the creature born in the light and raised in the dark, but I will not let this world crumble while I breathe. Plus, I'm far too young to have this many kids. Because all the little kids that the Time Lord was, using, somebody's got to do something with them. So the people are like, thank you. On my honor, we will bring these children back safe. The good guys and the bad guys are taking the kids and saying they will have full lives now, thanks to you. The Shield says now to Dork, he says, okay, fine. That was probably, maybe the right decision. Dork says, you're getting soft for his shield. And the Shield says, shut it. So now the ghost head, no longer possessing the Time Lord body, comes floating out back to them. And they're like, all right, let's get out of here. And they're like, oh, yeah, what did you do with the Time Lord? The chicken says, oh, him? I stuck him in a time loop. He won't be bothering anybody ever again. So he's over here tied up and all these things stabbed into his body. And he kind of dissolves into a dead husk, begging for help. And this big warrior, I'm pretty sure we saw him at the end of the first issue. He shows up. He's hunting down the Dork. He says, beaten by a child? How pathetic. Tell me, Time Lord, where is the abomination now? Answer me now. And the Time Lord says, please, he went west. Please stop. And as this big warrior guy chokes out the Time Lord and basically it looks like he pops his head off his body. The warrior guy says, stop. I'll never stop until the Dork is dead. And it's to be continued. So it's just a simple little weird time adventure with weird creatures. Admittedly, some pretty funny humor. There are some jokes in there that really made me laugh. It's pretty clever stuff. A couple different various covers in here. Covered issue 3, showing the big warrior guy chasing down Dork. And there we are. There's that makes me laugh. The chicken, severed head, but it's got his ghost spirit head just floating above his body. That's clever as hell. That would make an awesome t-shirt. Just show up to anywhere with that image on a t-shirt and people have to look at it and go, what the fuck is that? Well, that's the headless chicken from that comic called Dork. And they'd be like, you're the Dork. Anyway, like I said, it's good. I'm not completely blown away by it. And I only say that in context of the super hype around the book making a hyper collectible. Is it that amazing? I don't think so, but it is absolutely good. It's entertaining. It's well illustrated. It got interesting ideas. I think it's a worthwhile pickup. I recommend it for sure. It gets a full recommendation from me, as if anyone gives a shit what I think. It's weird, all the hype around it, but whatever. I hope they're making money and everyone's having a good time, because whatever. It's fun. It's a fun comic. I'm kind of curious to see where this goes. Again, it's not my most favorite thing in the world, but it's a nice little different taste, different kind of vibe than standard superhero action adventure shit. It's kind of lighthearted, cartoony, and it's fun to kind of mix it up a bit. So again, Latique Curry, thanks for getting this in my hands, man. I'm legitimately entertained by it. So what more can I say? That's all I've got for this one. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.